It is the ultimate stick, the final threat, the period at the end of the sentence of life. For 2 millennia, billions of people have lived their lives in the shadow of a terrifying geography, a place of unquenchable fire, of weeping and gnashing of teeth, where consciousness continues forever, but only to experience maximum agony. We know it as hell. It is the most successful horror story ever written, but here is the twist. Hell isn't a universal human truth. It wasn't always there waiting for us. It had to be invented. Today, we are going to trace the architecture of the abyss. We're going to find out who built hell, why they added the fire, and how this terrifying idea came to rule the human imagination. If you travel back 4,000 years to ancient Mesopotamia, to the cradle of civilization, and ask what happens after you die, the answer is underwhelming. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the afterlife is the house of dust. It doesn't matter if you were a king or a beggar, a saint or a sinner. Everyone goes to the same dank subterranean cave to eat clay and exist as a fluttering shadow. It isn't punishment. It's just over. The early Greeks had Hades. Again, not a place of torture, but a foggy, miserable retirement home for the soul. A place of forgetting. Even the earliest parts of the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, didn't have hell as we know it. They had Sheol. Like Hades, Sheol was just a grave, a shadowy pit where the dead slept. In the ancient world, death was bad because life was good. You didn't need the threat of eternal fire to make people fear death. But something was missing from this picture, something that emerging societies desperately needed: justice. If the bad guy gets away with murder in this life and ends up in the same shadowy basement as his victim, where's the cosmic fairness? The invention of hell began when we started demanding retribution after death. We look to Egypt. The Egyptians gave us the first clear concept of a post-mortem trial. Your heart was weighed against the feather of truth, Ma'at. If your heart was heavy with sin, you weren't just sent to a gloomy room. You were devoured by Ammit, the soul eater. This was annihilation. The stakes had just been raised. But the true architects of the fiery hell are likely the Zoroastrians of ancient Persia. They introduced a concept that changed the world, a cosmic battle between absolute good and absolute evil. They taught that after death, you cross the Chinvat Bridge. For the righteous, it is wide and stable. For the wicked, it turns sideways, razor sharp, plunging them into a pit of worst existence, a place of foul smells, darkness, and, crucially, purifying molten metal. Zoroastrian ideas seeped into Judaism during the Babylonian exile, and later profoundly influenced Christianity. The blueprint for the inferno was complete. And then came Jesus of Nazareth. Now, Jesus talked about judgment a lot, but when he spoke of punishment, he often used a very specific literal word in Aramaic: Gehenna. It wasn't a cosmic dimension. It was a literal valley outside the walls of Jerusalem. Historically, it was a place associated with ancient child sacrifice to foreign gods, and by the 1st century, it had become a cursed place, perhaps a burning refuse dump. When Jesus said your life might end up in Gehenna, his listeners pictured the smoldering garbage heap outside of town, to be tossed out like trash. But as Christianity spread from Judea into the Greek world, the message had to be translated. The Jewish Gehenna got mixed up with the Greek Hades, and the even terrifying Tartarus, a deep abyss used for imprisoning titans. The early church fathers needed a strong motivator. As the church became an institution of power, the rhetoric heated up. Hell shifted from being a place of destruction to a place of eternal, conscious torment. By the Middle Ages, the poet Dante Alighieri acted as hell's cartographer. He didn't invent it, but he gave it geography. He mapped the circles, customized the punishments, and solidified the imagery that still haunts us today. So, we moved from a dusty cave of shadows to a multi-layered torture chamber managed by devils. Why? Why did this specific story become the dominant one? Sociologically, hell is unparalleled technology for social control. In a world without police cameras, DNA evidence, or strong central governments, how do you ensure people obey the rules when no one is watching? You install an invisible surveillance system in their minds. You tell them that even if you escape the king's justice, you will never escape God's justice. Hell is the ultimate deterrent. It's a threat that cannot be tested until it is too late. It's solidified group identity. You were either one of us going to heaven or one of them going to the fire. It also satisfied a deep human craving for vengeance. It is psychologically comforting to believe that the tyrants and murderers of history are currently paying for their crimes. Hell provides a neat resolution to the messy problem of evil. In the modern secular world, the literal belief in fire and brimstone is receding in many places. Yet, the concept remains a cultural bedrock. We use the word constantly. We say war is hell. Addiction is hell. Whether you believe it is a literal place waiting below our feet, or a metaphor for the suffering we create for ourselves and others right here on Earth, hell remains the most terrifying story we have ever told ourselves.